NET Educational Network would like to present this special program. Mr. Ashbrook Hardy from Oxford shall give a presentation on the 19th century Irish lyricist Cranfield McDougal.
Cranfield McDougal, a retrospect. Born in 1821, Cranfield McDougal was a mathematician, an Irishman, and a lyricist. His lyrics first attracted attention in the 1840s when he was a student at Oxford. His early work is marked by a notable quietness, love of solitude, and fear of God. Later in his life, he became gradually insane until he was finally institutionalized. McDougal first attracted attention when he appeared in the August 1st, 1839 issue of the Times with a limerick which he composed while residing in a boarding house while attending the University of Mathematics in Blythe. Here now, an example of his early period, this first poem. McDougal's second period seems to be best explained by saying that his limericks lost this sense of quietness. In his second period, McDougal composed limericks of considerable energy. Some said his limericks were a, quote, consuming fire forged in the flames of hell, unquote. Here now an example of this, his second period.
Ba-rum, bum, 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 ba-rum, bum, 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 ba-rum, bum, 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 ba-rum, bum, 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 ba-rum, bum, 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 ba-rum, bum, 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 bum.
Some say that McDougal, at this period in his life, having earned his Ph.D., but not yet with a job, was a bundle of conflicts. He had security, yet he did not have security. McDougal's mind ranged far and wide, and he began composing 2, 3, even 4-part limericks. Unfortunately, many of the manuscripts for these have been lost, destroyed, or aborted, but we do have several examples. First, a simple 2-part limerick.
Bum bum bum, bum 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 bum, bum 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 bum, bum 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 bum, bum 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 bum, bum.
And now, one more example, this time a 3-part limerick.
Rum bum bum bum, rum 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 bum bum bum.
And then disaster struck. McDougal's later years were marked by suffering and pain. McDougal had found fame as a mathematician, but little or no recognition as a limericist. McDougal's close friend and colleague writes in his diary that he found McDougal one cold December morning lying up in a pit of vomit and wine outside the Golden Ram. Yet, strangely enough, this was McDougal's most creative period. It was during this strife-torn era that McDougal composed some of his most beautiful and moving limericks. Yet, the man we today call the master of the modern limerick was almost unknown in the world of letters. McDougal, through his drinking and his tortured psychological state, gradually declined until he was unable to write at all and was hospitalized. Yet, just before this, an incredible burst of creative energy which lasted for 3 weeks, McDougal achieved the pinnacle of his powers as a limericist. Here now, an example. McDougal gradually went from bed to bed, his verses scattered around him. He wrote little in his last year, but before he died, he left a mathematical equation expressing the most difficult limerick ever conceived by the human mind. The entire formula baffles mathematicians who try their luck at this most difficult profession, even today. Yet, fragments can be deciphered. Here, then, a fragment from this equation. Although almost totally ignored in his own time, Cranfield McDougal stands as a lighthouse upon the literary landscape. Many styles come and go, but the limerick outlives them all. Thus we pay homage to perhaps the greatest lyricist of them all, Cranfield, McDougal.
This has been a special presentation of the NET Educational Television Network. We would like to thank Mr. Ashbrook Hardy and the literary staff of Oxford University for making this presentation possible. Stand by for easy recipes by which to live cheap.